we all know the devastating fires, scrub fires, bushfires, whatever you want to call them, wildfires in California,
Yep.
and the amount of properties that were lost. And we're talking about areas where the median house prices in some of those areas was 2 to 3 million US dollars. And we're talking about literally over 1,000 properties that were lost during that time. So you start thinking about climate risk, right? Now, we're also, as we're recording this, we've got Townsville, Ingham, and all of that North Queensland experiencing heavy flooding. That's off the back of the Pacific, the Pacific Ocean basically being hotter than it's ever been, and that creates obviously the moisture goes in the sky, warm off, it goes down, right? So we're seeing a lot more, intense weather activity systems. So you've got to start thinking about climate risk, and you've got to start thinking about that in terms of where your investment dollars are going to go in terms of insurance premiums and how that's all going to play out. So if you're not, part of your risk profiling, usually it's, things like market risk, then you've got government interference risk, and now you've sort of got this emerging climate risk as part of that, and economic risk, all of those other things, black swan events. So it's just important to, and we'll talk more about this throughout the course of the year, I think, because it's going to be an emerging story. So you want to be starting to think about, like if you're thinking about Townsville, which is one of those hot spots at the moment that everyone's talking up, and you're now starting to see, well, accessibility and the economic impact that's going to happen in Townsville now. What's going to happen to property prices there? What is the premiums going to look like? And is the government going to have to eventually start a national insurance program? All of those things are going to play out over the next 3 to 5 years. And you've got to be thinking in those longer term periods, right? Because if there's no insurers that are going to go in there, or if you're going to risk not insuring your property, then, that's not part of the defensive strategy that we teach. So it's really important to understand what those impacts are going to be, because there's going to be a lot of markets, bushfire, flooding, those types of events that are going to happen right around the country. So how these actuaries are going to model that, and basically who's going to effectively insure and then under-insure, all of that type of stuff. I think Darwin's going to have an interesting year this year. So that's another market that I'm studying in terms of, I'm actually looking at the number of cyclones and severe weather events that happen in northern Queensland versus the top end of Australia versus also the Kimberley, to try and get a sense of how much greater risk is there, because that's the sort of modelling that will be done by actuaries in terms of that as well. So just to give you a bit of an idea, but climate risk, you're going to have to get used to it as property investors.
Yeah, well said.